Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time here. I am Martina Lily, and so far for the year of 2023 I have tried a lot of makeup in general period, but a lot of eyeshadow palettes, like a lot. I think I have 18 off the top of my head. So I figured what we would do is rank all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tried so far for the year of 2023 and rank them, give you my thoughts, all of that jazz. So hopefully that sounds interesting. Do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, notification bell. We're going to do desk view so that you can see the palette, but also so that I can like show you shades and stuff that I specifically like. And yeah, let's get into it. These are all of the palettes that I have tried so far this year. There is 17 in total, so we are going to rank each of these. I do have to say nearly every single one of these, well actually no, all of these are great quality. I don't actually think any of these are a like miss or terrible quality or like a flat out no. So I just want to say that this ranking is literally just personal preference, how much use I'll get out of them, my color story preferences, all of that jazz, but they're all actually really good quality palettes. Okay, let's get into this ranking. Number 17, we have the new Tom Ford Quad in Cherry Smoke. I wanted this so bad because I love cherries. I love cherries so much, and I really thought this was going to be an incredible quad. And the quality of this, I do have a look up of this on my channel. It was funny to read the comments of that look because you guys seem to think the look just looked so beautiful, and I really just felt meh about it. It's always funny what you guys seem to love and versus me, that kind of a thing. Anyway, but the problem that I just have with this quad is just honestly there's not enough dimension in here. The formulas are fine. I wouldn't say they're anything to like necessarily write home about. I mean, they're fine. They're a matte formula. They're not the wet dry. They're not the cream, which are my two favorites. Sure, I didn't mind that too much because I haven't actually really tried the Tom Ford matte formula and I wanted to. And the formula's fine. It's not a bad formula. It's not an exceptional formula. I just, honestly, these all on the eyes, they all look the same. So I just would have loved a lot more dimension to it. I guess as one and dones, they're very beautiful. And I think especially if you have like a medium, deep dark complexion, I actually think this quad would look really beautiful on you. But for me, I think this is an easy skip, really. Number 16 may surprise you just because of the brand that it is. It is Pat McGrath Labs, and this is the Sublime Seduction, like 6-pan mothership that she's called it. So this was in her Love collection that she just recently released. I have a heap of videos on this collection, so I'll link my Pat McGrath Labs playlist down below if you want to see it in action. This is the warm color story from this palette. Now, as a side note, I have tried to wipe over my palettes, but some of them are just beaten up, and you know, I've cleaned them as best I can, okay? I'm sorry if they're still too messy, that kind of a thing. This is just a warm tone one for me. It's just not the color story that I'm reaching for. If I was to change my makeup preference and go back to warm tones, I think I would super duper love this. And like, for example, if I was super into warm tones and wanted to go traveling, this would be a great 6-pan to take. But for me right now, it's not a color story I'm gonna lean towards. And honestly, it's just, you know, I've got these tones from Pat. I didn't pick it up. I was nearly going to skip this, but I picked it up for review purposes for you guys. And it is pretty. Like, these are beautiful. But I don't know why she's calling these 6-pans in particular from this Love collection a mothership, if I'm honest. None of these are special shades. And while they're beautiful formulas, they're not special shades. So it's not a mothership. And I just think I have these shades 10 times over in my collection from Pat herself and other brands. So it's just not super wowing to me. In saying that though, every time I've created a look from this palette, it has come out impeccable. And I think if you haven't tried Pat McGrath Labs before, aren't super fussed on special shades because maybe the glitter fallout or something like that, and you love a warm tone, then I really think you probably would really like this palette. And if you see it, especially like if Pat has a sale and it's on sale for quite cheap, like then I think it's really, like you might really find it worthwhile. Number 15, we have this little mini Natasha Denona Love palette. So one of her minis, very cute. I don't know if I used this in a look or just a reel. It might have just been a reel actually. I actually think this palette, like this little mini palette, is really cute. I've really come to like the Natasha Denona mini palettes. I think that they are super cute and super easy to travel with. And they have some really pretty shades in there. Like this shade in particular is really, really stunning on the eyes. I really haven't swatched it exceptionally well there, but it really does look very, very pretty on the eye. I mean, it performs exceptionally well. So I think if you're looking for a mini kind of purpley pink color story, then this is a really, really, really good option. I actually got this on sale, actually. I think I paid like $15 or something ridiculous for this on sale. And so I'm happy to have it, and I will get use out of it. And I'm happy that I paid so little for it, because the reason why it's ranking so low is just because it's a color story that I probably wouldn't necessarily reach for every single day or a whole lot, but I am happy to have it. Number 14 is another really itty bitty palette. This is the Victoria Beckham Silk palette. Now this was given to me in PR, full transparency, so I did not pay for this. I paid for every single other palette though that I am going to show you guys, but I really like this. And while it looks incredibly boring, and I think that the Victoria Beckham, oh, I did get a little bit of a gold in there. I think the Victoria Beckham like eyeshadow little palettes are not gonna be for everyone. I think they're for you if you want an itty bitty eyeshadow palette, because this is like a little matchbox kind of thing. Two, if you just want like a color story that is very, very soft and everyday wearable, and just, I don't know, like a luxury brand. It feels very luxury. The packaging is very luxury. The ingredients that Victoria Beckham uses are really, really good. So I just think, and also you want more of like a muted, toned down kind of eyeshadow formula. I know these swatches are poor, but you know, this is more like, I guess I think of these like almost like Tom Ford kind of eyeshadows, where, especially if you have mature lids, I think you might really like it. So Victoria Beckham isn't going to be for everyone, their eyeshadow formula in particular, but if it's for you, it's going to be really like for you. Number 13, we have another Love Collection palette from Pat McGrath Labs. This one is the iconic Infatuation palette. This one's a bit grubby, sorry. I don't think I wiped this one down, but here we are. So this one is more of the cool tone, pinky, mauvey, you know, eggplant purple, six pan from Pat. Just a lot more my vibe, if I'm honest. Like these tones, look at them. They are really beautiful. Are you going to focus for me? There we go. They are, look, they're gorgeous. Truly, they're beautiful, and again, the quality is stunning. And these are the kinds of tones that I will wear a lot. I tend to wear, especially this kind of a purple tone here, I tend to wear that on the everyday quite a lot. Again, I have these tones in Pat's palettes over and over, to be honest with you. I really do. They are different. I did an in-depth swatch comparison video of these three Love Collection palettes against the rest of my Pat McGrath Labs collection. And they are different, but they're same but different. And there's no special shades in here. So while I love the formula, and especially the matte formula in these six pans, that is where it shines for me. The matte formula is truly impeccable. It's just not different enough to what I already own in my collection. And I guess that's kind of why, just pure and simple, it's ranking kind of so low. It just doesn't excite me as much as the ones like above it, I guess, because that's all it's really coming down to. These are all brilliant quality. Number 12, we have the Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics. This is a very new palette into my collection. I feel like you can just tell from the color story, right? Like this, like these shades in particular in this top row, like these are so my kind of shades, and they're amazing. Like they're amazing. Look at this. Like just to even honestly own this palette to swatch, which is silly, I'm aware, but like, can we talk about how incredible that is? But can you guys see, it is so, like, these are cream kind of shadows, and I think you can just even tell from like in the pan, these are like cream, putty, jelly type kind of shadows, and these are actually not glitter. They're a kind of pigment, but they behave. like glitter is the best way to describe it. So they're not glitter, but they behave like glitter. And for me, it's just a little bit too high maintenance for an everyday kind of palette. I would use this, like when I think of this palette, and one of you guys did tell me like they released this palette at the holiday time, and when I think of using this palette, I think of the holiday time. I think of Christmas and I think of New Year's, that kind of a thing, because these are just so extra special and glitter and goodness. And I think like if I was like 18 years old again and going clubbing and all that kind of stuff, that, again, this is a great palette, because to just like even tap one of these on the lid, oh, it looks so good. I'm just not going to reach for this every day, but I think the formula's really good for what it is. I think that the color story is truly impeccable. It's just a little bit too high maintenance for me personally. Number 11 is the Natasha Denona midi palette, like midi Zendo palette, and I picked this up on sale at the start of the year from Cult Beauty. Kind of got this bee in my bonnet about having all of the Natasha Denona mini palettes at the start of the year, and I think this was the only one I had left, so I picked it up. It was on sale. I've used this a few times. Every time I create a look with this, it's gorgeous. The one thing I love about this palette is it has so many cream to powder formulas. So if you don't like her cream to powder formula, you probably won't like this, but for me, I love it. Now, this shade in particular is my favorite. I love a greeny gold like this. It's really, really so pretty. And I love the greens in here. They're very stunning. The blues, these pinks. It's actually so much more of a wearable palette than you kind of even assume looking at it. And I think I never picked this palette up, to be honest with you, because I don't like this red shade. Like if I could take this red shade out and just replace it with something else, I'd be so much happier. I don't know what it is. Whenever I see a red eyeshadow in a palette, I'm like, I'm not really going to use you. Why are you here, kind of thing. But I truly just think this palette is exceptional. It is actually very, very beautiful. But I think it's different to Natasha's kind of normal palettes. The metallics, while stunning, are a little bit toned down, just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then there is cream to powders, which I know people don't super love. So, you know, just keep that in mind. But I actually really like this. I probably would recommend, depending on like, if you saw this and was like, that is my ultimate color story, then I think, you know, the quality's good, go ahead. But if you see this and you're like, I like it, but I'm not sure, but you still kind of want it, wait until you see it on sale. That would be my recommendation. We are in the top 10 now, and I wonder if the ranking of this particular palette is going to be a surprise for you guys. So for number 10, we actually have the Pat McGrath Labs Nocturnal Nirvana. Now hear me out, I love this quad. I really, really do. I did a look with this. You guys really liked it as well, and so many of you guys want this quad as well. From what I can see, by the way, this is actually on the Pat McGrath Labs website, but some of you say that it isn't, so I don't know if it's just like the Australian version of the Pat McGrath Labs website that has it. I don't really know. Anyway, this quad is stunning. It is gorgeous. It's a great color story. I did get some blue on that gold there. Just don't mind that. Gorgeous color story. This green. Now, a lot of you did have a lot to say about the fact that, one, you think that these special shades are actually different to the original. A lot of you have the original and you're saying that these are pretty but not as dimensional or special as the original one. I obviously can't speak to that because I've never seen it myself and I don't own it. But if that's the case, that's disappointing. However, this green though it's really, I love it. I still love this green all in itself. Like, look at that. And this blue. Ooh. Very, very pretty. In saying that, the reason why this is ranking so low is, even though this purple is stunning and this green is, this gold is really pretty, these are just not two colors I'm going to get a whole lot of use out of. Like, they're just not. While they're pretty, they're not my favorite just color in general, period. This blue, while stunning, I'm not going to get a lot of wear out of that. I really am not. Did I buy this quad mainly for this green? Yes. Am I just ridiculous? Absolutely. I picked this up on like 35% off, so I'm not too mad at it, okay? The collector in me of Pat McGrath Labs wanted this. I do not, that's a personal decision. You make your own personal decision about anything and everything. You know what I mean? Like, none of this is trying to sell to you. It's just some makeup fun, okay? This is ranking so much lower, even though I actually really love this color story and I like the formula of this quad. It's just ranking so much lower because in the grand scheme of like how much use I'll probably get out of it, it is a little bit lower. Number 9 is the Forbidden Pink Tom Ford quad. Now, first of all, this packaging, if you know me, you know I love this packaging. It is a little bit more flimsy feeling and it's definitely more flimsy feeling and plasticky feeling than his normal quads. So keep that in mind. But for me, I love the color pink and black, so like together. So for me, I love it, right? But it doesn't feel like a heavy luxe quad like his normal ones do. Color story for me is very, very pretty. I will say I love the Tom Ford, but the Rose Topaz quad a lot more, the color story. So Rose Topaz is still my #1 go-to color story. But if you know me, you know I love the Tom Ford cream formula. It is one of my favorite formulas from him, if not my favorite formula, apologies, of his, because it is so easy to just do a quick, simple, effortless, chic look using this formula. You can use it with your fingers, you can use it with brushes, doesn't matter. I just find it always looks good and is easy to use. For me, it's long wearing. I love it. Now, Tom Ford isn't going to be an eyeshadow formula that competes with Natasha, Denona, Pat McGrath Labs, Adept, whatever. It just isn't. Like, it's not designed to be that way. And if you look at my rankings of all of my brands, Tom Ford normally does rank a lot lower. But for me, Tom Ford, and I've said this multiple times before on my channel, it's like a separate category for me. And you can disagree or agree, that's totally fine. But for me personally, it is a separate category because it's designed to be a softer look, a softer eyeshadow. You know, a lot of those high-end luxury designer brands like Chanel and stuff, that's what their eyeshadows are designed for, and more like mature lids and stuff. And I just find that his looks always, with his quads, usually come together so chic, so effortless, so quick. And so I often travel with them, or I often use them for work, especially just because they look really good together. The color stories do, and the way they perform is just, it's always going to look good, and it's going to take me like 2 seconds to kind of create a look. But they're not going to be like wham bam thank you ma'am like Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona. I love this one though. I love this as a one and done. I love this shade right here. This shade's, I love this whole color story. It's very, very beautiful. It really is. I am never ever going to tell anyone to buy Tom Ford. I'm not telling anyone to buy anything, but I'm especially never telling anyone to buy Tom Ford. It is such a personal decision, especially those high-end designer brands like your Tom Fords, your Chanels. That's a personal decision. Only you can make that for yourself. I can just tell you if I like it. Number 8, Natasha Denona Circo Loco palette. I wanted this for such a long time, pretty much since it got released, but I never allowed myself to pick it up because honestly, who am I thinking I'm going to wear these colors a whole lot? You know what I mean? I'm conscious, like a lot of the quads or palettes, I should say, that I've brought into my collection in the last couple of months have been quite colorful, and I don't know who I think I am, because I really am not a colorful makeup wearer on the everyday. I'm super boring, to be honest with you. I like playing with color on the YouTubes and stuff like that though. Anyway, I mean, I do work from home, so I can get away with it. But you know, anyway, there is something about this palette. I don't know what it is. These oranges, this blue, this color, like this whole palette together, I don't know what it is, but it's always like kind of just drawn my eye, drawn me in. This color especially, like it is magical, this color. I don't know if you guys remember, I did like creating my own Valentine's Day palette, and this color was in it, and I think the look I did with that palette in that video as well, like I use this, it's gorgeous. This one, like all of them, honestly. This palette is such good quality. It has a couple of cream to powders, so keep that in mind, but like the mattes and everything, great quality. It's actually softer, like the oranges and stuff are like easier to use than what you think, even this pink. But it's great, like these metallics, like look how buttery they look. I don't know if it's gonna, there we go. Like they're so buttery, so creamy. I love it. I did pick it up on sale. I think I got like 20 to 30% off this from Cult Beauty in like Boxing Day sales or something. So that's why I also picked it up. I got it on sale, and I know it's limited edition, so I wanted to grab it before it went away, but I don't regret it. I actually really like it. I love using it. It kind of inspires me. It really does. So yeah, I think it's a great palette. Number 7. The Arrow-inspired palette from Adept Cosmetics. I'm so bummed this palette is limited edition. I don't know why it is. I'm guessing maybe ingredients or something. I don't know, but it is a travesty because these greens, let me tell you, if you love green eyeshadow, my goodness, you missed out on some goods. Look at that. Look. Wow. They're impeccable, you guys. I have a look using this and it was amazing. And I love these. The formula of these is so good, truly. It is such a gorgeous palette. The mattes perform really, really lovely. This is the kind of formula from Adept Cosmetics that I really like over the Minka one. The Minka one's just too much for me on an everyday basis, but this I could use like every day. Stunning. Love it. Quality is exceptional. It's ranking lower probably for like the quality of the eyeshadow, just because the color story is probably just a little bit too bold for like the everyday for me. The one thing I love about this is that these shadows are like magnetic, so you can just take them out. So I'm going to be able to create my own palettes using these all the time, which is amazing. Number 6, we have the Oden's Eye Flora Story palette from Makeup Just for Fun, like their collaboration. This one just recently got released. Again, I have a video with this palette. Kind of self-explanatory, the color story, the greens. I'm a green eyeshadow lover. We know that by now, probably. It's very pretty. Look, very, very pretty. And I think this palette's color story, while being so almost colorful, is kind of it's done in such a way that it's like a muted color that it's kind of everyday as well, at least for me, definitely. I wouldn't have any hesitation wearing this on any day of the week. Depending on your preference and your definition of day looks, colourful looks, whatever. The quality is beautiful. Mattes, stunning, metallics, beautiful, creamy, lovely on the eyes. Just, it's really, really gorgeous. I really, really like it. I think for me being number 6, like these next ones are quite hard for me. For 6 up especially, I found it quite hard to rank because they're all quite impeccable in their own way. And I just think maybe I don't think to reach for this color story as much as the next ones is probably why. But in terms of quality, oh, it's fire. If you have been eyeing these, I know they're sold out and they're coming back on the 24th of March, I think it is. If you have been eyeing them and you are like, I do want to pick them up, I do recommend it, honestly. Number 5, the next Pat McGrath Labs Blitz Astral Quad I picked up. This is Ritualistic Rose. Technically, I picked this up at like Black Friday last year, but I only tried it this year, okay? So like we're counting it in this year. I love this. The look I did with this was one of my favorite looks this year. It was so beautiful and so wearable. Like, I love it. And I know it's like pink in her color story, but for me, this is like, I'll reach for this so often compared to say like Nocturnal or Nirvana, because like, look at this shade. That is beautiful. But I love a good bronze. Like, I don't know, I just really liked how this look turned out. It turned out so soft and subtle and sultry and like soft glam on the eyes and romantic, and I loved it and I'm here for it. I love everything about this. And I think this must be like her original one of this, so I don't know. I know it's sold out now, sorry. So I'm guessing when she brings it back on the website, it'll probably be in the smaller pans and all that kind of stuff, which is a shame. So hopefully she doesn't change it much from this actual particular like formula like she did with Nocturnal Nirvana, because these are glorious. Number 4, we have the Natasha Denona mini pastel palette. I was surprised that I even liked this little mini because I wasn't a huge fan of the pastel palette, I'll be honest. It's okay, but it's just, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan. But this one, when I saw this, I was really captivated by it because while this is like pastels, I felt like they were really, I just felt like this palette was really wearable. This shade is my favorite. Look at it. It's glorious. But I really like all of the metallics in here. I've said this, I think I said this in my Sea Talk review from Oden's Eye, or like my Oden's Eye review. I love these kind of blues that are coming out this year, and they're like a denim blue because I feel like they're a really wearable blue for an everyday look for me personally. But this gold, this pink, stunning. I mean, the green matte performs really well. I did a review on this and the matte performs well, but I will be completely transparent with you. When I use this little mini, I use it with a neutral palette for the mattes. It's just how I roll. But if you do like a super colorful look like that, the green performs perfection. But I love this. If you're looking for like a really small, like dip my little pinky toe in the water of color, I think this is a great option. I really do. Number 3. this itty bitty little orange blossom Kaja Beauty Bento. I picked this off like 20 bucks, maybe not even, it might have even been cheaper than that. I picked this up I did a video where I took a heap of my favorite YouTubers 2022 makeup favorites that I'd never tried before, and I did a video doing a full face trying their favorite. And this was Kaki's like eyeshadow pick, and I'd actually always wanted to try these and didn't realize that they had them on Stylewana, and when I looked it was on sale, so I was like, okay, for the win. So it's like these little a bento box, and it has like the 3 shades, and this one's in orange blossom. That's going to be hard to open because, you know, this one right here is actually my favorite shade. It's like so pretty. It's this gorgeous little chocolatey bronze, but the other two are honestly really, really beautiful. This took me by surprise, you guys. I was not expecting to be as impressed because Kaki has, well, not just Kaki, but like everyone has raved about these dang Kaja bento boxes for so long, and I was just always like, yeah, okay, whatever. But they're right. Like, honestly, these are as good, well, okay, let's not go as far to say as good, but pretty darn close. Like the closest affordable eyeshadow I think I've come across to Pat McGrath Labs. Like truly, they are gorgeous. And I actually use this that often because it's so easy to create such a quick, fuss-free, but stunning everyday wearable look with this little bento. I just put a bronzer or something through the crease and then just tap usually this one to be fair, or over the lid, and I'm done. And it is impeccable. And I really do, I'm trying not to pick up more because I have so much eyeshadow, but I kind of low-key want to, or high-key I guess, but want to pick up more because I'm so impressed with this dang formula. It's amazing, truly. Like, really good. Really, really, really good. So number 2 is Pat McGrath Labs Velvet Liaison. I have wanted an all matte palette from Miss Pat McGrath Labs for a very, 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 very long time, and she finally gave it to me. Are these tones in her other palettes? Yes and no. Like, yes, these two especially, more so, and this dark brown, like there are like similar shades in her collection, but she gave me what I wanted, which was a cream and this. Honestly, she could have just released these two. I would have been stoked. But the fact that I now have 6 of these shades in one palette for me, do you know how often I use this? Like, truly, I use this that often. It's not funny. This formula is chef's kiss to me. I love it. I love the formula of these mattes. They are so easy to use. So easy to use. I love the tones of them. For me, this palette is just a perfect, like, matte shadow collection to use with really any palette, period, but especially the Pat McGrath Lab Mothership collection and her special shades. I love it. I love the quality. Can't say enough good words about this little 6-pan. I really can't. It's just so thoroughly impressed me, and I use it that, I reckon this is, no, I know for a fact this is my most used palette so far this year. And number 1, it has to be the Oden's Eye Cross Lauren May Beauty Sea Talk palette. I know, it has got to be this one, truly. I freaking love this palette. I really do. I can't get enough of it. I've done 2 looks on my channel using this palette. The first look I used the blues. The second look I just used these 2 shadows. And one, the amount of compliments I got from the look where I used these was so much. But like, honestly, if I did my wedding makeup over again, I would use these 2 shadows, but just this whole palette as a whole. I've said it every time I talk about this palette about just the perfection of color story for me is such a cross between wearable, color, and uniqueness, in my opinion. This shadow seriously is crazy good. This one, even the yellow, like the yellow is such a good performer. Like they're just, I can't do it justice just even finger swatching, truly. Like it needs to be on the eyes, and especially even when you see it in low lighting, like it's and they're so creamy. They're so creamy in such a good way. They're still long wearing, they don't crease or anything, but they're creamy in such a beautiful way. Honestly, Lauren could not have nailed this more. Truly, she could not have. The Flora story is honestly awesome as well, but this one to me, and I wasn't expecting it. I nearly didn't even pick this up. I nearly only picked up Flora Story, but I just couldn't go past, to be honest, these 2 shades and these 2. but I'm so glad I did. I didn't expect this was going to be my favorite. I didn't super expect to love it. But man, I just want to use this every day. Like every time I go to do my makeup now, I'm like, I just want to use Sea Chalk. It is that good. Like, I think you can tell the love affair that I have for this, right? That is it. That is all 17 eyeshadow palettes ranked. I'm covered in glitter and metallic shadow all over, and my camera is about to die, so we're going to wrap this up here. Let me know your thoughts. Was this ranking kind of how you thought it would go if you watch all my videos? Do you love any of these palettes? I don't know. Just let me know your thoughts down below. I love chatting with you guys. If you're here until this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye!